from the beginning of our existence, we've always been creative, whether it's that first spear, that first pot we made, that first cave painting on the wall. The human being has always been driven by creativity, and we should never, ever give that up. Our whole world is built upon creativity. I'm Rob from So Far, So Good. Let's get creative. Ever since I was a boy, I was drawing or doing something creative in my life. It was one of the only things that I could do well. And so I found that I sort of just got lost in that. And I progressed through school with this creative urge and sort of excelled at doing my art, whether it's painting, drawing, etc., etc. When I left school, it wasn't possible for me to follow that career. I had to earn money and make my way in the world to support myself. So I sort of got involved in the snow ski industry, and I ended up heading over to Australia, and there I worked in the ski industry in Sydney, and it was hard. I worked 7 days a week, with the weekends taking tours to the snowfields. I made good money, and it was a great time in your early 20s. You know, I was partying and skiing. What else could you want? But it wasn't enough. I still had in the back of my mind that I needed or wanted to go to art school. And so what was it? It was probably 87, somewhere around then. I started some courses to build up a portfolio so I could apply for art school. And the lady that was helping me with printmaking, she knew the sort of art schools around Australia, and she recommended going to Adelaide. And for me, that wasn't much of a decision to make. I didn't have any family or anything in Sydney, and I thought, if I'm going to break out of this whole system that I was working in, to get away from it, I needed to move. You don't need to do anything as drastic as that, but I did. I packed up. I got applied for Adelaide. I went down there. I drove down there 1,200 kilometres for an interview, and was accepted. Now, so I moved down there, and I was following my dream. And finally, I met some other people who were thinking what I was thinking. It's people my own age, because I was, 25 at that time. And so older students, and it was a liberation. People that thought like me. In fact, there were some people in their 60s who decided to go to art school. And that's where I really want to focus on, is not me, but these ladies who are in their 60s, and their whole notion, the whole world has been challenged again. And they found it a bit difficult sometimes, but they flourished. They took ideas, and one of them was a great knitter, but then she got involved in the textile department. So she wasn't just knitting, she was knitting huge murals, and it just took her out of her comfort zone, and she produced some fantastic work. And I've never seen someone so happy to discover that creativity again. It was just magical. And that's where I want to get to in this video. Sorry, it's taken a bit of time, but the idea that we're all creative from the day we're born, and we start walking, start talking, and pick up that first pencil. We like to be creative. We're a creative species, and we've been creating our entire journey as human beings. And if you look back, from the first spear to hunt with, to make life easier, to the first pot to be able to carry things, to the first cave paintings, we as a species have always been creative. And you look around you today. Look at the things that have designed. Look at your furniture, look at the clothes you wear. Everything is some sort of creativity behind it. And when we get to this sort of age, it's time to find that creativity again if you haven't done already. You know, we don't just have to be consumers in this world. We can be creative. We can put things out there. We can make little things, but start small, start little. You know, you don't have to try and uh, um, capture the world with your art or creativity. Post things online. That's fine, but don't do it because you want likes and you want the attention. Do it because you want to do it, and it's a good place to archive your work, and then you can see how you progress. But it's important for us to be creative, and now that we're in the slower part of our lives, we've had this time to think about what we want to do um, in our next 15, 20 years. And it's time for us to find that creativity again, whether it's woodwork, whether it's gardening or just baking. It's so important for us as a species to develop this creativity again, to find it and enjoy it. Playing with Lego, I remember my kids um, playing with Lego for hours when they were kids, and building not um, what was on the box, but creating their own world with their own figurines and having stories. It was just a fantastic time. Try not to spend too much time scrolling through Instagram or whatever, and you see all these beautiful, romanticized imagery. Don't worry about that, all right? Just do your thing. Um, That's what's important. Don't get caught up, oh, I've got to look like that, I've got to look like... No, you don't. You've got to look like you. You've got to discover yourself. And the thing, and how you're going to do that is by just doing it, all right? And progress and find yourself. Learn again. And stop with the excuses. Oh, I don't have an idea. I don't have time. I've got to go to town to buy something. You know, stop making excuses for it. Just stop. And I think it's time for you to, if you haven't got any ideas or you um, can't come up with anything that you would like to do, look around you. Look to see what you inspires you, that you find interesting. And that's the first step of finding what you like to do as a creator. I mean, if you're following painters on Instagram or potters or woodworkers or um, gardening or baking, chances are those are the things that you're interested in. So those are the things that you should probably start looking at. Drawing, I mean, drawing is a great way of starting on any level of going, of designing what you want to do. And then the next step, probably I suggest, is give yourself a challenge of um, how I can develop this. Say if you're into photography, give yourself a challenge like, oh, I'm going to photograph something I photograph every 30 days. But home it in and say, okay, I'm going to look at buildings or I'm going to look at shadows, so that you give yourself a challenge in that sense. Um, if you're drawing, say, okay, I'm going to draw this particular flower, but I'm going to do it how shading works, to concentrate on the shading part of it, or do a line drawing. These are little challenges that you can do to help you get going. And baking, bake something simple like cookies or muffins to start with, and build up on. And I think the next step is to look at sharing what you're doing, what you've done on that 30-day challenge. Um, Put the images up on Instagram. Put them up every day. And then when you got your 30 days, you can see how you've progressed. see what you find interesting. It doesn't matter if nobody follows. It's about putting your work up there, building a portfolio, and for you to see how you're progressing. I mean, that's one way. I mean, I use Instagram like that. I don't, I've got a few followers, but it's for me to document my work, to see how I've progressed over the years. Um, and that's where I think social media is really good because, you lose these photos, you lose these images, or they get sold, or you've destroyed them, or painted over them, or whatever you've done. But at least on social media, you have a permanent sort of documentation of who you are and how your work is. Start believing that you are a creator, that you can do these sorts of things. Um, and the most joyful thing I find is that you taking something from up here that you see in your mind and you're bringing it to life. You're making it something tangible that other people can see or touch, or eat. It's a fantastic way. It's a great way of spending these years that we have left, um, doing something that we enjoy. Be creative. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. Till next time. Oh, yesterday, while cooking, I got ketchup in my eye. Now I have hindsight. Bye.